Hey everybody, it's Miss Adaria at the Bridgeton Public Library. Welcome to Maker's Day, my portion of it anyway. We're going to be making some wonderful things today. We hope you're very excited about that. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. So next shot is going to be me making some Maker's Day stuff. So thank you for tuning in. Hey kids and folks and everybody, people of all ages, critters even, how you doing? Welcome to the overhead shot of our Maker's Day. Woo! I'm Miss Adaria, and we're at the Bridgeton Public Library, as we said earlier, and we're so happy you tuned in to enjoy my portion of the Maker's Day. We have wonderful people doing wonderful things, but this is what I'm going to do. So, yippee-hoo! But first, I wanted to give you a little show and tell because Miss Adaria makes a lot of stuff. If you've watched any of our story times, then you know at the end of each we do a wonderful craft. So you know we've been crafting for a long time now, years. And I just wanted to show you some of the stuff that I've made on my own here and there that I'm very proud of. So first we're going to start with this. What is this? Well, when it's not a hat on this cute little robin, it used to be a piece of toilet paper roll. Of course, my signature toilet paper roll craft. And what we did was we wrapped yarn around it. And it's one piece of yarn pretty much, or maybe, two pieces of yarn. But it's the same, from the same skein, which is, a ball of yarn. It just changed colors. So it went from dark gray to purple to lilac to gray again. So we made this wonderful covering. You can use this as a napkin holder. So hey, that's one craft we did. Very proud of that. Looks pretty good for a toilet paper roll, don't you think? Another craft that Miss Adaria loves to do is to make jewelry. Whoa! So I brought in some of the jewelry that I've made over the years, and I wanted you to see and enjoy it. I use semi-precious stones and silver and brass and crystals. Miss Adaria tries to stay away from plastic. So all of these wonderful earrings that I've made over the years really delight me. Oh, this one seems to be missing its little ear thing, but that's okay. So I just wanted to show you these wonderful earrings that I've made. And I get inspiration from all kinds of things. I look at television shows and see what costumes and jewelry people are wearing, and I just have ideas. So there's my earrings, but wait, there's more. In this beautiful Japanese silk scarf, I have some of the necklaces that I've made. So I just want to share with you a couple of these. And again, it's all semi-precious stones and crystal. No plastic, people, no plastic. So here's one necklace. Isn't that cool? It has all kinds of beads. Little ones, medium-sized ones, bigger ones. Isn't that neat? That's really cool. And then this one I really like. It has a pattern. I don't know if you could see the pattern. I'll take this one away so not confuse you. See, it's like yellow glass beads with these colors as a pattern. We've got some clear beads, orange, green. There's that. There's that one. Let's scoot the earrings out of the way for a second. And we've got this wonderful necklace that I absolutely love with, again, semi-precious stones. All of these right here. Beautiful rocks from the earth, plus colors that matched those. I just love that necklace. I think that one's beautiful. And then this one I'm very proud of. It took me so long to make this necklace, because look how long it is. See how long it is? It's one single strand, and these are all glass beads. Glass and crystal. And some little semi-precious stones in there too. You see that little one right there? That little gray, shiny, metallic one? That's hematite. This took me so long to make. I actually made this for my sister, Emily, and then I took it back from her because I loved it so much. And she has not come to reclaim it yet. So until she does, I'm keeping it lovely just for her. So thank you so much for, oh wait, hold on, but there's more. Miss Adaria also embroiders. My mom taught me how to embroider when I was about 5 years old, and I've been embroidering ever since. And what is embroidery? It's simply like taking thread and making shapes and designs and flowers and all that good stuff with it. So this is for Valentine's Day. Be mine, baby. And Miss Adaria also draws. What? So every fall, Miss Adaria goes out and takes walks and finds leaves on the ground and draws some fall leaves. So here's one. Whoa. You know, I showed this book to my friend, and she actually tried to pick it up off the page because she thought it was an actual leaf. So that was a great compliment. And what I do is I list what it is, when I drew it, and all the colors that I use. So I just put little hash marks of all the different colors that I use. So look at all those different colors that I use to make that beautiful leaf. And I'm just going to show you a couple more. I draw on every other page, so it kind of doesn't rub up against the back of the page that I drew on. There's a nice little leaf. There's a really pretty leaf. Maybe you recognize some of these leaves from trees that you have around your yard. There's a nice leaf. And I've been doing this for probably about, I don't know, 6 or 7 years now. And I've been drawing since I was a kid, and I absolutely love to draw. And for some reason, I could draw things good in nature, but I can't draw people too well. And I can't really draw animals too well, but I can certainly draw things like trees and leaves. That's a ginkgo leaf, in case any of you noticed that. And there's another beauty. Look at that pretty one. Look how, you know how fall leaves, they change, the green part goes out of the leaf and it starts changing colors? That's right. Let's see if we just get a couple more here, and then we'll get right into the craft. There's a cute one. Still has a little tiny bit of green left in it. And let's see what else we got. Just a couple more. One of those cool leaves. To me, they look like a mid-century modern sculpture. We got one of those big guys. And I think that's about it. Miss Daria needs to get to drawing some more. Oh, wait, here's some more. Look what I found. Oh, look, here's an actual leaf that I drew a picture of. And here we got some nice fall beauties. Look at the colors on those. Isn't that spectacular? All right, and I think that's it. Well, thanks for letting me share with you the things that I've made in my life. And let's get to making some other stuff. Hello. So what are we doing today? Well, Miss Daria chose to make a replica of the 1816 building that is a portion of our library. So here's a mini one. We just printed this out. It's really cool. We want a big shout out to Alan Mayer for creating this. And he's one of our friends of the library, as well as he's on the board of CHABA, which is the Center for Historic American Building Arts here in Bridgeton. And I'm on the board too. And what we do is we love up old houses in Bridgeton because there's so many. They all have stories. They've all been lived in and loved. And we try to help preserve them and teach people how to preserve them too. All right, because history is a good thing to keep going. I just wanted to show you these first. So when you come in to pick up your Maker's Day craft kits that we're going to have for you, you'll all have one of these houses. And all you have to do is cut these out. See, there's two different houses here. You can make a little townhouse. You can make a little bungalow. You can make a little store. Here's another little house. And here are two other houses as well. So you'll have one of these houses in your craft bag, and you'll also have one of these in your craft bag too. So you'll be able to make the Bridgeton Library, which used to be the Cumberland Bank, the first bank in Cumberland County. The building is from 1816. So, and it's only the second bank chartered in New Jersey. So this is the part of the library that most people don't come to get to see because we have our offices, our administrative offices in here. But you can ask us for a tour anytime you want when you come into the library. We'll be happy to show you. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to cut. So here I'm cutting. And this part might be sped up a little bit, just so you don't have to watch me cut in real time. And I just want to make sure that I'm cutting carefully and correctly because I don't want to have to do this twice. So do you see the instructions before we speed it up? Red cut lines. So here, Alan put the lines where you cut, the red cut lines. And the green lines, all these lines you see here, are where you fold. So you're not going to cut the roof. You're going to keep the roof attached to the building because we're going to fold it over. But you're going to cut out the shape of the building first. And then we're going to do the cut lines that will make it easy to fold it into itself. So this is when we're going to speed it up. Enjoy. And we're back. Thank you for your patience while we cut quickly. These are the Cut Quickly scissors by Fiskars. So what's really nice about this is that it has the instructions right here, what is going to be the bottom of the house. So the cut outline from white area, we did that. Now we're going to cut the red dashed lines. Yes, I could do that. So remember, just cut up to that point right there. Try not to go any farther. Okay, red dashed lines are cut. Thank you for these wonderful instructions, Alan. It's fun and easy. Yay! I get to make the building that I work in, which is just wonderful. Do one more? Oh, no, we did that one already. Okay, now it says, place double stick as shown. Fold back to green lines with image face down. Place double stick on white end of roof tab. Oh, I see. Look, see, there's a piece of double stick over there, too. All right, let Miss Adaria just get her bearings for a moment. Fold back green lines with image face down. Okay. So I'm just going to fold the green lines. So this is a roof. So just make sure you follow the green line. I'm not sure if we're going to get these printed up with the same type of cardstock or maybe something a little less stiff. So it might be easier for you to cut. And I'm going to fold this one too. I think this is what he's talking about by saying roof tab. And then we've got a couple more things to fold. So do you see how this is going to be folded in? Okay. And you can, if you want, you can use the top of your scissor. But be careful, please, to really get those corners down. And here's another fold over on this side. Oh, it's a little hard. Make noise, you know, if it helps. You ever watch tennis players and they're like, and they take a shot? So you got to do that, you know, make it work. Okay. There's a fold, and here's another fold. Just make sure you're looking at what you're doing to make sure you're folding it on the right spot. Because once you fold it, it's probably going to be folded forever. It's very hard because this paper is so stiff to then go back and try to refold it. So try to get it on that green line as best you can. And, or you can use a spoon too. You don't have to use the edge of your scissors. You can use the edge of a spoon or a butter knife. Okay. There we go. Fold, 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 fold. I think these are folds. Also, there's another fold. We'll do 2 folds and then we'll come back in. And reinforce the fold with our scissors. Okie dokie. All right, now let me just see if everything is folded. Got that one. Okay, the only folds that I didn't do were the bottom. So I'm going to push the tabs in like this and then fold along the bottom. And then unfold, push the tabs in, fold on the bottom. Look at the bay window. I bet you didn't know this, but the windows that face the patio that's in front of the newer part of the library used to have 2 windows on either side of them. They're actually still there, but they got covered up so that it looks like there's only 1 window facing the patio from the old building, but there's actually 3 because I've looked at that from both sides now. All right, let's see what's going on here. Place double stick on white side end of roof tab, or roof yab, as Alan calls it. Peel tape backing fold in around this rectangle and pinch tabs together. Okay, I think you could do that. So I think what he's saying is these are going to go together. See that right there? And see how they come together in the middle? So you want to make sure you got those in there. So let's see. Let me see what's going on here with this tape. I don't seem to be able to get it off of itself. So hopefully there's some, there we go. Okay, now be careful because I don't know if we're going to have exactly the same type of sticky tape, but it's very sticky. So try not to touch it with your fingers because we don't want you to stick to the house. We want you to be able to, so press that corner in there, see that? Here's another corner, press it where the tape is and it should stay. Might have to move the whole house around a little bit to get in there and get that done. Good job, good job. Okay, so then we're gonna take these ones in the middle and take that sticky tape top off of it. Say that 4 times fast. Sticky tape top. Sticky tape top. Alrighty then. And you're going to bring this up and make that corner and get in there. And this one is probably, the next one is probably going to be the hardest because you don't have too much room to maneuver around in. But I know you could do it. So just fold that up. You see how I just folded that right up? Looks like a little milk carton. And make sure that it's fairly even, that it looks good on the outside. And just pinch that together as much as you can. See what it looks like on the inside. All right. Let's see. Oh, I see. Okay, that's something that I didn't do. I'm very sorry. We forgot to cut the red lines up here, but that's okay. We can still do it. So you fold it over so that you see red lines on either side, and just come in and just cut down to the bottom. All right, good job, good job. One more. Watch your fingers. Just cut that down, just like that. Okay, because you know why? You're going to put the top of the roof through so that it can hold itself. Just separate those a little bit so you can get the top of the roof in there. Come on, little roof, you can do it. Oh, it's this chair. Okay. Okay. That's a little, you're going to have to monkey around with this a little bit to get it to get it in that roof line, I think. So just play around with that. See what you got. Might want to make this bend going out. I think this was maybe the only bend that we didn't do, the only green line bend that we didn't do, but that's okay. As long as you got some bending action in there. Now, I'm trying to see, let's see what it says. Okay, look at that, cool. That's the bottom of it, and it's the directions. Peel, tape, baggy fold, rectangle, pinch tab together. Form fold-out triangular roof peaks. Form fold-out triangular roof peaks. Almost done. With finger on inside a box, fold down roof tab lining three windows and apply pressure. So see what the roof tab is doing? It's the same as this. So basically you're going to line up these 3 windows so that they're going to be, lined up with those windows. So just take off the last piece of sticky tape protecting thingamajobber and try to get those roof tabs in there if you can. That's a little hard part. I'm not sure what the purpose of this is, I guess. I mean, is it a roof overhang? Is that what it's supposed to be? The roof is supposed to overhang a little bit? Yeah, Miss Adaria didn't have one to practice on kids, so you're seeing this live and in action the first time. And that's what Maker's Day is all about, because it's okay to make mistakes when you're making your maker stuff, because it's all about creativity, and nothing is perfect in this world, and that is a good thing to learn when you're young. Sorry, kids. Nothing's perfect. And that's okay. It's just how it's supposed to be. So I'm trying to line up the windows the best I can. And oop, and oop, and oop, and whoop, whoop. Just folding down this roof here sheet a little bit to get my finger in there. And make sure this is good, because I don't know how else I'm going to do that. Pop those roofs out or in a little bit. Okay. Nope. It's not quite aligned. So let's see if I can't pop that off and get this better. Okay, that's good. All right, so however you're going to be able to do that, you do it. So I'm sure it'll work. So now that's stuck together, and now you could just pop the roof back in there. Oh, I bent the roof a little. I mean the side of the building. And there you have it, the 1816 portion of the library. It's not perfect, but neither is the building. The building needs a lot of love too. So that's the front door that faces Commerce Street. This is the upstairs. Here's the windows. Here's the side of the building facing Bank Street Extension. Here's the other side that faces our front patio. And the back of the building is actually now opened up and attached to another part of the building that they built around 1867. But when the building was its own freestanding building, no, the old part of the old building is about 1867. The new part of the building that's an L shape around it, the one that you go inside and get your books out, and also that's 1967. Some little elf off camera reminded me. But yes, so this part of the building right here was blown out, and an extension was built in 1867, approximately, and we have more offices back there. But when this building was first built as the bank, of First Bank of Cumberland County, this is how it stood, just like this, all by itself. Thanks again to Alan. We appreciate you guys coming here for Maker's Day. You'll have your very own Cumberland Bank / Bridgeton Library to make, and you'll have these lovely buildings to make. And I just want to get some opinions in here. What do you think about this?
Well, it's a great place for me to sit, first of all, and I really like this bank. I mean, and the library. It's been a very good library, and I really like it too. Even though the polar bear, I still enjoy it. And me, I'm a penguin, and I'm a friend to the polar bear, and we all really like it. Thanks, Miss Daria. You're welcome. Thank you for enjoying our craft today. We appreciate your time. We appreciate you tuning in. Please stay tuned for some more crafts. We hope you enjoy the crafts that you've already seen. Our Maker's Day is for you. So come in and grab your Maker's Day gift bags, craft bags, whatever we're calling them. They'll be available for you at the front desk while supplies last. Thanks again for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next time. Happy Maker's Day. Yay!
Hey everybody, Mr. Glenn here from the Bridgeton Free Public Library. We're inside of Steamworks right now, and we're getting ready to see how a CNC router operates with Miss Maggie. So let's take a look and see what she has to say, and try to learn something today right here on the 2022 New Jersey Maker's Day.
Hi everybody, I'm Miss Maggie, and I'm sometimes a volunteer down here at Steamworks. I teach people how to use the CNC machine, and I wanted you to know that this is something you have access to if you should get involved in doing woodwork or sometimes plastic work or perhaps even metal work with machinery. So I wanted to show you some of the things a CNC machine will do. CNC means computer numerical control, and it's actually a machine that will take computer instructions to do things like etching. As you see here, this is the work of some Bridgeton High School students in a summer camp from several years ago. Each of them created their own desktop of shapes, and then we ran them on the router and made an engraving. Another thing that you can do is completely cut things out of wood. So here's a canoe mobile that we did. We designed the canoe and then just upscaled it from 1, 2, 3 and cut these out. Has little pieces of wood here that keep the thing from flying away from you when it's all cut, and then you just knock that out when you're done. Another thing that you can do is make puzzles. Basically cut in. If you're not cutting all the way through, you can cut only part way through, and then you can cut out extra pieces to fit in it. So that's 2 separate sets of wood. This is not what got cut out of here. It's what got cut out of a separate piece of wood. So let me show you a small hand router in case you've never seen one, and then you're going to see the machine router, which will look like it's running by itself. It's actually being given instructions from the computer, from a program that you will have seen by now as we designed what we're going to cut out. If you know anybody who has a wood shop that they spend a lot of time in, chances are they have one of these. It's called a router, and these are the bits. And if you turn this upside down and put this on this piece of wood, it will cut out a shape that looks like this. Different router bits, different shapes, lots of fun to play with. So this is the design we're going to demonstrate on the machine today. Earlier today, we did this design on the computer, and you'll get to see that. It involves cutting 2 pieces, cutting a pocket in this piece of wood, cutting this piece of wood separate, gluing them together, and slicing it off. It gives you a product that is a nice, smooth, and pretty clear, what they call inlay. This piece that I showed you the first time is actually inset in there and becomes part of the design and becomes a sanded flat. You can use this to hold hot pots, or you can make smaller ones that are coasters. And this is not as complicated as it looks like it would be. So I want to show you today a little bit of the program that is used to do that. The program is called VCarve. It has been designed to work with computer numerical control machines of a variety. It can actually adapt the computer program to about 100 different machines. So the one that we will demonstrate is one of the ones that is compatible with this program. The reason that I say that it is very accessible to you is because you can design things from line drawings, from coloring books, and if you have the ability to scan them into your program, that's all you need to do to start with. So here I want to show you, to begin with, the program with this particular design scanned in, which is what I used to make the piece that I showed you. What you're seeing now is the entire design as it was scanned into the computer, but I just took a small piece of that. I just took one leaf and a piece of the vine and created the design that you saw earlier. Let's turn off the bitmap and let's look at the pocket. So this is what was created for one part of the design. Sorry about that. This will be cut, this piece of wood, which is about 6 inches square, will be cut into inside these outlines. And for this vine pattern here, we're just going to scribe a line into the pocket. That's how that one was set up. In addition to the pocket, there is the other piece we call the relief, which is the top section that gets cut out, that gets set into the pocket and glued and then sliced off. I'll show you on the computer the picture of the inlay. That's what this looks like. Doesn't look any different. It's the same line, has a little bit of a line around it. Once these two things are drawn in the program, you can move over and create your tool paths. Now a tool path is, the idea is to select something and say, okay, I want a certain tool to run around this piece of wood and cut in a certain way. For the relief part, you want it to cut so that the piece is up. For the pocket part, you want it to cut so that the base has a pocket in it. But all of these, instead of being straight sides, as I said, are going to be slanted sides, and that's what we're going to do. This kind of programming is not complicated to do. Once you've learned the program, you'll be very happy with it. It's easy enough to do. But I wanted to show you some of the, once you have your toolpath made, you have the opportunity to see it cut virtually. And you do that by saying, please run this virtual machine. What you can do is, I'll show it to you in a slower version. There are 3 different tools that are used here. One is a cutter that cuts straight down first and cuts out a lot of material. The second one is one that has a V shape to it. And the third cut is actually not going very deep. It's just cutting that vine that you see. So here goes a preview. I ask it to preview the visible toolpaths. You're seeing the big cuts, the cutting out the extra wood, and it's done in several layers. There's the second layer that's done. Here's the third layer that's done. And then you will see it cut the slanted sides with the V bit, we call it. Here it's beginning, and it follows, you'll follow it all the way through. You can see that the V bit allows the points of the leaf to show up in a way that the other one did not. So it'll finish cutting all the way through, and then it will just cut the vine right here. Cut out a few details, and there's the vine right there. And that's it. One of them takes almost 2 minutes. The other one takes almost 7 minutes. The other one takes 12 seconds, 2 minutes, and 8.5 minutes, and 1 minute. So in a matter of, 15 minutes, you have both pieces of this cut, and you're ready to take it off the machine, glue the 2 pieces together, slice them apart, and smooth it out. One more thing that can be done with this program that is definitely worth it is to create what's called a job sheet. I use these all the time because I always forget what I did. This job sheet tells me how many tool paths I had when I was finished, which tools are going to do the cutting, how much time everything takes, and any other details like how big the piece of material is. So that's what it takes to get the program figured out. Once you have the tool paths, you save them. I will show you that in a second. So here is the save tool path. It tells you I can't do all of them at once, but I can do one of them at a time. So this As I check each toolpath, it gives me the toolpath up here, and then I get to save it. When you save a toolpath, you have to save it to be compatible with a particular processor. In our case, the machine we're going to use is called a CNC Shark, and it has, it's the machine that is at Steamworks that we will be cutting on, that you'll see later on in this video. So then you say, yes, I will save the toolpath to the file, and you save it, and you're in good shape. Next, save the next toolpath, and so on down the line. Take that one, save that one, save that one, and save that one. So you know how long it's going to take. You've saved all your toolpaths. You have a very simple design. In the end, you're going to have a small piece of wood that you can use to put hot pots on or anything else that you can think of. Or you can just put it in a frame and hang it on your wall. Very simple stuff. Start with coloring books. Start with designs that are already made. Scan them into the computer and go from there. You can also do your drawing straight from the beginning in this program. So if you wanted to lay out your grid lines and say, okay, I'm going to draw a house, you can do that. Then you can choose how you're going to have that house cut out on the machine. Very versatile, and once you've gotten used to it, it's fun. It doesn't take long to learn, just a few commands that will keep you happy forever. This is the machine part of the CNC router. There's a router, like you just saw, mounted. It has bits that go on under here, and it will move back and forth, up and down, along the table to cut whatever it is we ask it to cut. What goes on the table is first a piece of wood that is a buffer, so you don't cut the table. That's this, and I call it a jig because I set it up so that its borders will hold the pieces of wood that I want to cut. I'm going to cut two different pieces of wood, as I said before. This one will have a pocket in it, and this one is what we call relief. That is, the background is carved down and the other part sticks up. When you put the two of them together, you have a sandwich. The first thing I have to do is fix this on so that it won't move. And one of the ways we do that, there are a number of ways to do it, including clamping. But one way that I like to use for this, because I don't like to put nails in my finished pieces, I use double stick tape. This has already been once stuck down. And my piece of wood, which I'm going to use this side of, I would push it up against there, push it up against there, and bang it. Now I have to cut tape for this one. And I'll put the other one right about here. The hardest part is peeling off the backing. You want the tape to stick, but you want the backing off. There we go. We bash it again. Now I'm going to pull this tight. This is a clamp that slides back and forth. I'm going to pull that tight and clamp it. And before I put it on the table, I want to make the mark that will line this up with the program. So we have to line the machine up with the zeros in the program, and that's on this particular piece. I want to do the center, so I'll mark the center on this. So if I go from corner to corner and make a line, and do the same thing on the other side, I will have the center of this particular piece of wood. So there's my center right there. Now in this piece, not necessarily looking for the center, but I'm looking for a place to put this. So will I put it down here? Will I put it up there? I think maybe here is where I want it. So I have one of centers marked, and I'll just mark them up. Okay, now we're ready to mount this onto the machine's table. These are great clamps. They have some reach. I can do it this way. But I would rather hold at least one of my sample pieces of wood here. So you can see that I want this, I do not want the router bit to be getting anywhere near close to this clamp. But I do want the clamp to hold the piece and not let it come up. I think I would do one more thing, and that is just push it against there. So that's how I'll set that up. You have a lot of decisions to make in this business. This clamp can hold the board down. Hold the board down with this one. I want to be on a corner. I don't want to be too close, but I want it to keep from popping. So what moves? So far, nothing. I want to move the machine so that the router bit is closer to the work. I need to move it up, and eventually I'll need to move it over that way or that way, and I'll need to move it up and down. The controls for that are in the program for the machine, and they are for any of you who know about graphs, they are X and Y, X, Y, and Z. Z is the height, X is right or left, Y is forward or backward. Interestingly enough, Y minus is forward, so here goes. Forward. I'm going to stop here and move Z all the way up. It's because I need to put a bit into the machine, and it's always easier to do that if you have a little space. We're going to be using 2 bits in this operation. This one, which will hang down like this, is a flat end router bit. This one is called a V bit because it's a V, this way. It's a 90-degree V bit because there's 90 degrees between here and there. They make some that are different angles. This will be the second one we'll use. We'll use the flat one first. So we put it in. Tighten it down. And use our wrenches. Okay. So I'm going to line my machine up over here. You can see where I made the mark where I want it to start. And the way we line it up is similar to what we just did. We'll move it to the right first. We'll move it forward a little bit. And then we move it down. Okay, so those were fairly fast movements. There's a slow spot in here that I can use. And I always use that to make sure that I am where I want to be. So the first thing I'm going to do is move the forward and back. I'm going to move it down a little bit. Okay, then I'm going to move it so that this bit is lined up on this line here. And you can't see it because you're not at my angle, but I will. That's good. Now I need to line it left and right. So I'll turn this so that I can actually see, and I have to move it. All right, now I have to check and see if it's actually there. It's not. It needs to go over some more. Once I'm happy with those two, let me just lower it down a little bit more just to make a final determination whether I like this or not. I like it this way. Now I want to see it that way. Yes, that's good. So, having centered it where I want it, I make X and Y go to 0. I hit X0 and this will go to 0. I hit Y0 and that will go to 0. And now the machine knows where I want it to start. Now we have to set Z. Z is a fun setting. This is the way we do it. Put a piece of paper between the material and the bit, and then we slowly lower it until the paper gets stuck. Paper's stuck. Let me go up a little bit and see if it's still stuck. That's good. Now I will make Z go to 0. So now we have X, Y, and Z 0. That's where the machine knows it needs to start. This is the button that turns the machine on. And I would say that we are ready to try to run the pocket part. We are going to go find the program for the toolpaths for the pocket. We do that by saying load the G code, and I'm looking for the desktop storage of that program. This should be it. Open. Okay. This diagram tells you where the bit is going to go as it cuts, and it's going to make several passes. It's going to go down a little bit, maybe 1/8 of an inch, and cut a whole set of paths, and it's going to drop down and do a little bit more. And these will end up looking like little steps. And then the V bit will smooth out those steps to a slanted side. Whenever you see these two green cross lines, that corresponds with where the bit will be. So let us proceed by asking it to run. On the file, we'll use that. Okay, here goes. So the machine has shut itself off because it has finished with all of the instructions that it was given for cutting that pocket. Now in order to finish this up, we have to change the bit to the V bit. Here goes the V bit. I'll turn the machine on, and you'll notice that we are in the right place for X and Y, but we're definitely not in the right place for the height. So let's lower it down. And here we hit a snag because this point has to come off of the top of this. But it's already drilled out where we want it to be. So that's easy enough to fix. We can just move it over. Use our paper trick to catch the Z again. One more. Got it. Z0. Okay. I'll lift it up and get my paper out. And now we can just ask the machine to move back to the 3 zeros, X, Y, and Z 0. And here it goes. So now it's ready to begin cutting on the new program. I have to find that new program. It's called something like that. Okay. So these lines show you that this bit is going to be working mostly around the edges here. We've already got a flat bottom. It's going to smooth out these edges to make a slanted side. That's what the instructions are asking this one to do. So again, we will ask it to run the file, but let's turn on first. Okay. Come on. continue with the next piece, let's take a look at what just got done. We started out with a flat piece of wood, and we ended up digging into it with one bit till it got down to here, and then smoothing all the sides with what the V-bit can do for us. So we have a pocket now. So now let us turn the machine off, change bits, line this up, and start with the next program. Close enough. Let's make X 0. Let's make Y 0. And then let's fix our Z to where it needs to be. Perfect. Lift the paper up and get that out of there. And now we're ready to run the second section, which is going to create something that looks like this. The lines that the machine will be running are all on the outside of the leaf instead of on the inside of the leaf. So it's going to dig out this material in as many layers as I asked it to. So that's the big cut. Now you can see how there are terraces here, and when we put the V-bit in, it will taper those sides so that it should fit into the pocket that we cut on the other piece of wood. That's what we'll do now. We'll turn off the machine, we'll change bits, and we'll cut that last piece. It's going to be working around here, cutting tapered sides, and it's going to be working around the leaf, cutting tapered sides. So now we have both parts of our design cut. This will come off with a little bit of sandpaper, and this edge we'll saw it off at this edge. We could have cut through it with the CNC router, but I choose to saw it off. These two will fit together like a sandwich. They'll get glued, and then we'll be ready to saw off the rest of this backing to leave a white leaf inside a brown leaf pocket. Okay, so in order to get to here, from here, we need to saw off the backing of this. There's a lot of ways to do it. One way that I like a lot is this saw, because it's nice and flat and it doesn't cut that kerf. That is a big wide slot. So I can set it against the wood and just cut. Cutting into the wood. That's the remnant. You can see that we began to cut into the wood here, but I will sand that down or plane it down, and here's what you have left. You have a very nice seam here, so you can't see very much air or space in between the two kinds of wood. So once that's sanded down, it'll be a nice inlay.
Wow, that's great, Maggie. So just to recap, you took the two pieces that we carved. One was a pocket and one was a positive. So we had like a positive and negative, and we
Exactly.
glued those two pieces together,
That's right.
and then we cut them apart, and that's what you get. So basically you have an inlay of two different pieces of wood, and it's perfectly done with the CNC router. And like Maggie said, she'll sand that down so it's all one flat, smooth surface. And you can see on the kind of leaves there how well it fits. The two pieces of wood fit together between each other like that.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
The machinery is at 46 East Commerce Street at Steamworks, and you just need to contact somebody to figure out how you're going to learn how to do all of this.
Well, great, Maggie. We thank you for all your time and effort today,
You are
showing us
welcome.
how a CNC router works and how you can cut out two different pieces of wood, put them together, and have a nice little project on your hands. So we thank you again for today, New Jersey Makers Day 2022.
Hey everybody, welcome to this portion of Maker's Day at the Bridgeton Public Library. We're here today with Emily Rotkamp, famous origami paper folder lady and farmer.
That's a little over the top.
That's okay.
That's okay.
As long as it's not over their heads. Today, Emily has graciously agreed to come to the library for our Maker's Day project and make one of these beautiful boxes. Look how gorgeous they are. So Emily, how do you do it? What do you do? How do you get it from this flat piece of paper to something like that?
That's what we're going to do today. So, if you stop at the library, we have set up 25 packs of papers that you can pick up. So, each pack will have 8 plain pieces of paper and 8 decorative papers. And
While supplies last.
while supplies last, right. We have 25 of that. You can make these boxes out of anything. This was made out of Christmas wrapping paper.
Wow, wonderful. I love the shininess of it and the design too. And it's even a little tactile, so that's nice.
Yes. And
Oh, I
the
love
other-
this one too with the stars, the mix of the stars. And
It's
the,
all about
oh,
the
it's
paper.
beautiful. It's just
It is
beautiful.
really, truly all about the paper.
That's wonderful. How did you get into this?
I went over to the Upper Deerfield Senior Center, and they had classes on origami there.
That's great. I should go check that out. That's really wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Emily, for coming by here. Do you want to say anything about the art of origami, or how long did it take you to hone that craft?
Not very long.
Really? Because it looks like you've been working on it for many decades in
No,
order to get it to look like that.
they're very simple.
Oh, and the plain paper is used for the bottoms.
Yes.
Oh, look at the bottom has that beautiful swirl pattern too. That foldy swirl. Oh, that's so nice. It looks like a star. Wow, I can't wait to see how to make this. So thank you so much for coming here, Emily. So the next thing you're going to see is Miss Emily making one of these boxes. Happy Maker's Day, everybody.
Okay, to get started, you'll need 16 pieces of paper. 8 pieces of paper will be the top of the box, and 8 pieces of paper will be the bottom of the box. If you want special paper from a craft store, you can buy 12 by 12 sheets. And if you cut this 6 by 6, you'll have enough to do. Two pieces of paper will give you a nice top to your box. The bottom of the box, I usually cheat and just use good old copy paper. The bottom of the box, if you want to get fancy, you can use a coordinating color. You could make the bottom of the box black to go with this. Do anything you want. The other thing I want to tell you, today we're making a 6 by 6 box. The paper starts out 6 by 6. However, you can make a box by 2.5 and get a nice small box. You can make your box 3 inches on the top. Notice that I have a smaller number on the bottom. It's easier for the box to open and close if the bottom of the box is cut just a little bit smaller. So that means all 8 pieces are cut smaller than the top. Notice on this pack that you could get from the library is just a smidge smaller than the bottom of the box. The bottom of the box is a smidge taller than the top of the box. You can also go all the way up to 12 by 12. So this is it's 16 pieces of paper. The top is 12 by 12. The bottom is 11 3/4 by 11 3/4. This paper is thick. So you have to allow for that to close the box. If you did both at 12 and 12, the edges of your box would really push in on the bottom when you put it in. I did paper with 8.5 by 8.5. And that's just regular copy paper just about. Again, the bottom I cut a little bit smaller. Okay, to begin, you're going to start with the color paper. You could also start with the white paper. If you're afraid you're going to mess up on the white paper because it's the bottom of the box. So take one piece of 6 by 6 color paper, color side down. We're going to do a diagonal fold. Make sure they get almost to the corner and smush a nice solid line. We're going to turn it the other direction and do the same thing. Make a diagonal fold. Smush. From here, bring in one side, the point, right to the middle, and smush. I'm going to bring this up a little bit. Bring in the other side, right to the middle, almost touching, and smush. Nice crisp lines. Bring the bottom side up to the middle, and again, smush that line, nice and firm. Bring the top side down, right to the middle. Now, I'm not going to smush this one. I'm going to just give a pinch. I need to know where that mark is because it helps this next fold get where it's got to be, which is right up the point, right up to that smush mark, and fold nice and tight. Now, I'm going to turn this over and I'm going to fold the bottom flap up. This fold was already in here when you did the diagonal, and the other fold on the other side was when you took that bottom up to the top. Nice and easy. Shouldn't be any new fold. I'm going to take this edge on the side and I'm going to bring it and rest it up against this 45 here. So So over it comes. Be careful of the corner. You don't want to rip that corner there. And bring it over as close as you can get it. And smush that line nice and firm. Now I'm going to open up the bottom again, and I want to reinforce this line that goes through the top of the piece. Here's the tricky part. This is when it turns into three-dimensional instead of flat. It will no longer be flat when I do this. I'm holding firmly index finger and thumb on the top over here. I want to bring this folded line right here over to this line over here. And I'm going to do that by pushing it over. It pivots right here on the corner, right there on that corner. Now to get that flat, it's kind of hard to do it this way, so you turn it upside down. And if you did it right, see this point here? That point there should rest right up against the white paper. And then I'm going to smush that nice and tight. That is the first one done. Now you have to repeat that 15 more times. Let's do it one more time. Color side down, corner to corner fold. I'm going to go a little bit faster. Corner to corner fold. Open, corner in, fold. Corner in to the center, fold. Bottom corner up to the middle, fold. Top down, pinch. Bottom point up to the pinch and fold tight. Fold that bottom part down. It's not a new fold. Both of those folds were there. It shouldn't be a new fold. Now we come back to a new fold from the side over to the middle. Well, it's to the 45. Open it up again because you don't, this is your corner of the box. This is the part that's going to be right here. So it's the edge of your box. Now we're going to take it and we're going to come up the middle this way and make that nice and firm because it makes this last fold where you take the middle over to the side. It makes that so much easier. If you don't do that fold, it's going to be hard. Turn it upside down so that you can smush it really hard. And now I'm going to take a break and finish up the rest of these. I have now folded 8 modulars of this unit, of this box. So there's 8 for the top. I'm going to change to different ones that I've already folded previously so that you can see a little bit better how they go together. And I decided to do 2 colors so that you can, again, see a little bit better. At this point, you might want to pull in some paper clips. Paper clips help hold the paper together until you get it locked in. You're going to do the same thing each time. Open the side flap, insert, and make sure it folds in nicely. There it goes. It's folded in, and then I'm going to paper clip it so it holds and doesn't fall out. Take the next color, open the side flap, insert, and paper clip. Pink, open the side flap, insert, and paper clip. Open the side flap, insert, and paper clip. That needs to be down just a little bit. There we go. Paper clip. Back to pink. I have 2 more of these. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Look at that. We have them all. Open the side flap. Insert. Paper clip. Open the side flap. Insert. Paper clip.
Open the side flap, insert, and paper clip. This is where it gets tricky because this first one has to come all the way around. I'm going to pinch that open so it stays open better. Open the side flap, insert, and paper clip. Looks like a lopsided crown at this point. The trick is to get all these points to come out where they belong. And you just play with it a little bit. It will eventually get there. These things fly out of the side. You need to flip them in. So they all look like they're in. This one doesn't want to be folded at all. Get where you need to be. Now, when things get this far, I like to look at the bottom. Because in the bottom, you should see nice little triangles. This one needs to be over top of that one. And fold it in. That was that side flap that just doesn't want to be there. And because I'm on camera, it's not cooperating with me. Come on, close up. Let's go around the outside again and see what I can get. Oh, here you are. Eventually it will get there. Fold them in where they belong. I'm getting closer. I'm going to go underneath again. Ah, there's some problems. Now they're starting to fold in where they belong. Ah, look at that. Once you get those bottoms done, that's nice. Now this one's sticking up. We want all these tucked under. So I'm going to lift up a little bit. Why are you giving me problems still? There you go. Look at that. It looks like a box. This is where the spoon comes in real handy. Turn this upside down. As long as your points are all out here nice and not smushed, as long as your points are all nice and flat, it's time to turn it upside down and smush. Really smush it hard. It makes those creases nice and firm. It makes your box stay together. And then the other thing I do, once you got that smushed, you can take your paper clips out because you've got it all locked together. I like to hold it on the side. This is going to be difficult to see because I don't want to bend my box too much, but I do want you to see that I am putting a nice crease on the bottom of that box. Whoops, hang on. That's the danger you have. All right. I'll go back to that again later. To lock in the top so it doesn't fall apart. Lift up one and pinch it under. Lift up, pinch it under. Lift up the point, pinch it under. Lift up the next point and pinch that one under. Lift up the point, pinch it under. Lift up the point, pinch it under. Lift up the point, pinch it under. Now I don't have another point to lift up. What do? You're going to ease this little flap open a little bit and go in a little bit backwards and nudge it in there and pinch it. Okay, now I can really not worry about that box opening up on me and I can get these nice and tight. I made a top to this earlier.
So nice.
So this is the bottom of this box, and this is the top of the same box. Nice and firm.
Wow.
Opens right up. Fits nice and snug. I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to do it with this one. And because all the pieces are the same, it's going to be a little bit more difficult to see. So, open the flap, slide it in, and make sure it's snug. Open the flap, slide it in, make sure it's down on the bottom, and snug it up. Clip it with a paper clip. Open the top, slide it in, and paper clip. If you want to I don't know if this will help in the future, but you can close it up just a little bit here to train these things to stay in. It may work, it may not. Open the top, slide it in, and paper clip. Open the top, slide it in, and paper clip. Open the side, slide it in, and paper clip. Open the side, slide it in, and paper clip. Now, I usually do this without paper clips. And when I do, what I use is sometimes I press it up against my body and I slide this, but because the paper clips are there, I won't need to. And I slide this in. Now I know that last flap was not flipped out, so when I turn it upside down, I'm going to have to take this flap, pull it out, put it around the other one. But it's not the only one that fell out, so let's see if we can get this box to close a little bit easier than the last box. Get all those points up, get all the sides in. It's almost there. Something's wrong on the bottom. Yep, there it is. See, it's harder to see on this one because the pattern's the same. But this needs to come up and over that one. And now it looks like it's going to go together pretty well. There we go. Looks good.
It's amazing how it comes together like that.
Smush it. I'm gonna lock in the top before I go further. Again, pull out one point, push the other point under. Pull out the horizontal point, push the vertical point under. Pull up, lift the horizontal and push it over. Lift the horizontal and push it over. Lift and fold. Lift and fold. Lift and fold. Oops, back to that last one. It goes in here, so you're going to have to go backwards into it. Push that point down. Push it down, push it down. Don't fight me, paper. Push it down. And there it is. Now I can take the pins off while all the paper clips come out. And one more time, I'm going to really firm up these creasy edges.
How long have you been making these?
Oh my goodness, probably a good 5 years or better.
That's great. That's why you can whip through it like that.
Yes. I did have to practice before I came today because it's been a long time.
Oh, wow. It paid off because they're beautiful.
Hey everybody, Mr. Glenn again, and we're going to close out this year's New Jersey Makers Day by looking at a laser engraver / cutter. Today we're going to be looking at the X-Tool D1 laser engraver, and you'll see how that unit works and how it cuts out, and we'll do a little demonstration, so stay tuned. Okay, so this is the laser engraver after you take it out of the box and assemble it. Assembly is fairly straightforward and easy. There's just a couple rails that have to be put on, some wiring that has to be done, and then this here is the laser head itself. And this is a 10-watt laser from the manufacturer. It also is made in a 5-watt version and soon to be a 20-watt version. So basically the unit is similar in the way of a 3D printer as far as it does have X and Y travel via two stepper motors. And one of the stepper motors is right under here, you can see. And then the other one is right around here, right over here. Okay? So the unit does not come with this base here. If you can take a look at it, you might be able to figure out what it is. It's actually fireplace screen. So it's the mesh that is hung in front of a fireplace. I saw this on YouTube also. And what that does is it gives it a little bit of a space between the work surface of what you're cutting or engraving and the surface that's below it. Right? What I have below is just a sheet of plywood right now. And you can see there's a little bit of some engraved marks that have gone ahead and hit the wasteboard that's underneath. So I decided to use this and it works fairly well. Now, this unit also comes with a couple of accessories that you can buy from them. And this video is not sponsored by them in any way, shape, or form, but I just want to let you know that they do make a rotary attachment that you can use to engrave tumblers. And they also have what's called air assist. And that helps the cutting process and it helps blow away any soot or dirt that the laser is creating. And it also keeps any flames from happening because a laser can catch items on fire. So that's the number one rule here, safety. Make sure you never ever leave the room while a laser is operating. You always have to babysit the laser while it's working. The laser also has a on-off power switch. Here's where power comes into the laser, and this is your USB connection for controlling the laser. And that's it in a nutshell as far as the tool itself. It's made out of real beefy metal, and the laser head is moved via some belts, and then there's some other belts that are up underneath here. So because this is a 10 watt laser that I have, it's actually using two 5 watt lasers inside that are being combined to produce the 10 watts of power. Now you also might be familiar with Glowforge lasers. They are a CO2 based laser, so that is a different wavelength of light and a different way of creating the laser. This laser here is a diode based laser. They're usually weaker than CO2 lasers, and there's some advantages and disadvantages. This unit, for example, cannot cut through any kind of clear plexiglass, and the Glowforge, I believe, can, but this unit can cut through and engrave on colored plexiglass. So if it's an opaque color of any kind, it can cut through and or engrave. And I think you can still engrave on clear plexiglass, but you cannot cut all the way through plexiglass no matter the thickness. It's just an inherent issue with diode-based lasers. So just give me a second and I will put the enclosure that I built for it on top of the unit, and that will be to help exhaust any fumes that the unit will create while it's cutting or engraving. It does produce some smoke and it does stink, and the best way to get rid of it is to have it in an enclosure to capture that, and then an exhaust fan to move all that air outside of your home or place of work. So give me a second and we'll get that right on there. Okay, so this is the X-Tool D1's laser engraver enclosure that I built. Now, these units do not come with an enclosure, and the main reason for building an enclosure for your laser engraver is that whenever you're cutting through wood, you're going to produce a lot of smoke and it's going to stink your house up. So what you want to do is be able to contain that smoke. In this case, it's with a box that was cut and created, and have a exhaust system for that enclosure. So this here is a fan that's connected to some dryer vent duct, and that dryer vent duct goes over to basically an outlet that goes through the window. And that's just a piece of fiberboard that's been cut out to accept a 4-inch piece of ductwork. And then there's some pipe insulation foam around the edges of it to keep it sealed from the outside. So all the vent exhaust from your engraver will go right outside and not stay inside your house. So in the process of building this enclosure, I made a cutout and installed a special plexiglass that's meant for laser engravers. It shields the light on a certain wavelength to help protect your eyes, but you can still see into the unit as the unit is operating. You'll see here that the top of the enclosure is hinged with a piano hinge. Now, I didn't have time to finish this entire enclosure by the time the filming needed to be done for Maker's Day, but this enclosure will get a coat of paint. It'll be sanded down and it'll look a lot nicer than what it is right now. But right now it is functional. And if you look back here, you'll see me open the front. And now you can see into the area where the D1 is. The exhaust fan has a little remote control on it that you can change the speed of the fan depending on how much smoke you have or just how much of a draw of air you want to have being pushed through the dryer vent duct. Okay, for the X-Tool D1 laser engraver / cutter, you need 2 cables. One is your USB cable for controlling the actual unit, and the other one is your power cable. And I just have a hole in the side of the enclosure right now to allow those 2 cables to go inside. Okay, so the X-Tool D1 laser engraver / cutter uses some software called Laser Box Basic, which is provided to you when you purchase the unit. As you can see on the screen, it's some very basic software, and it doesn't do very much for you. I decided to skip right past this software and go to a different piece of software that is meant specifically for laser cutters and just about anything on the market out there, and it's called Lightburn. A lot of people use it, and we're going to try to cut something out today for you for New Jersey Maker's Day. So we're going to jump right over into Lightburn for you right now. Okay, so here we are in Lightburn, and for today's project we're going to be using the Maker's Day logo. And as you can see here on the work area, we have the logo that's imported. It was imported as I believe a DXF file, but you can import it as SVG and lots of different formats here with Lightburn. And on this left-hand side are all your drawing tools if you want to draw. Today's demonstration is not really going to be about how to use the software, but just what the software does. One of the key things to know about Lightburn and laser cutting and engraving is that everything is really done by layers and colors. So, for instance, if we move over here, you'll see C00, so it's layer 00, and it's in black, and it's telling you what the mode is. The mode is a line, and over here it tells you the speed that the laser is going to move and what percentage of power it's going to use. So if we come back into the center area, everything that's here that is black will be engraved because I have the power level lower than what is necessary to cut through the wood. So that would just make it an engraving of the image. Now if we move over to the red line that outlines the entire object, that is now on a different layer. So I can tell it to do something different. And you'll see over here that I have a speed of 6, which is 6 millimeters a second, and a power of 100. So this is we're basically saying we want all the power that this laser can give to do this red line. So that's what's going to allow it to cut this image out of the piece of wood that we're working with. This is a 10-watt laser from Xtool, and these are the settings that I've found that seem to work fairly good for this. We are going to be using 3 millimeter plywood to cut this out with today. And one thing you might want to know about the laser is that you can position the laser exactly where you want it to start, and you can show the tell the software and show the unit exactly what you want to do and where you want to do it with this software, which is kind of nice. It's much more advanced than the LaserBox software that comes with the unit, and I think it's something that you would want to step up to after you start to learn the basics. I'm familiar with this software on a small level because I have a Silhouette Cameo, and the Silhouette Studio software is somewhat similar as far as the design features and the and getting an idea of how to use it and how to create items and designs in it. There still is a learning curve with Lightbox. I'm still learning a lot, but for today's demonstration, we're just going to do something simple, which is the logo that you can see here on your screen, and having it actually cut out. So it's going to engrave anything that's black. So it's just going to put a mark on the wood where it's black, and then where it's red, it's going to cut it out. Now this box here, this rectangular box was just for my reference. So we're going to go ahead and delete that because we don't need that part. And this is what we're going to actually start to cut out. So we'll do that in a second after we get the wood positioned and we make sure that everything is working correctly. Okay, so here is that scrap piece of wood that I'm going to use to create the New Jersey Makers Day logo. It's very thin, it's only about 3 millimeters thick, and it's just a little bit bigger than what the logo is going to be engraved and cut out on. So we're going to go ahead and put that in the machine, get everything lined up, and then we'll go ahead and engrave and cut. So stay tuned. Okay, so you'll see now that the piece of wood is in the unit. And to adjust the height of the laser, which needs to be done, you have to actually focus the laser on the item that you're actually going to be cutting. So there has to be a physical distance from the laser to the actual item. And on the side here, there's this little kickstand that folds down that you'll be able to go ahead and flip that down, which you can do right here, onto your work surface. So then you would adjust this head unit up or down so that that little foot down there at the bottom is touching your workpiece. And you can adjust it with that little thumb screw right there. Now I've already gone ahead and done this ahead of time to save time, but there are plenty of videos out there on YouTube that show this unit operating and how to do the focus and all that. So we're also going to do what's called framing, and framing just makes sure that the laser head is going to actually cut and or engrave on the actual work surface, and that you're not going off onto another area. So let me go ahead and hit the frame button and you'll see what I'm talking about. And that is on the software side. So I'm going to hit frame, and you'll see the head move over and give you an outline of where the unit is going to engrave and or cut. So everything's set up right now. Everything's perfect for the unit. And we're going to go ahead and run the job. And you'll see the logo being shot. Okay, I'm going to first start by turning on my exhaust fan. I'm going to hit a couple buttons there. It's variable speed, like I had mentioned. And it takes like a second or two for that to kick in. And you might start to hear it. The fan noise a little bit. So that's going to be exhausting air out of the unit and pulling out any smoke that might be happening. So we're going to come over to the computer and we're just going to click on the start button and it should go ahead and give us the New Jersey Maker State logo. Let's see what happens. It's giving me a warning that it might be outside, but that's okay. And there it is operating. So because the black layer was on top, it will do all the engraving first, and then it will go ahead and at the very end it will cut the logo out of the piece of wood. Okay, starting the cutting process. It's going to make 2 passes because I told it to go around 2 times just to be sure that it makes its way all the way through the wood. Sometimes on a single pass you don't get all the way through on the wood that you're actually using. Depends on the type of wood, the thickness, the speed that the cutter's moving. There's a lot of factors involved. It's all finished. Now I usually wait a minute or 2 for some of the smoke to still get exhausted outside before I open the lid. So as soon as that's done, we'll open the lid and see what happens. Okay, let's go ahead and open the unit and see what it looks like. All right, that's looking pretty good. Now what I'll do is I'll just move the laser head out of the way, and you'll see that I can grab this unit and pull this piece entirely away because it's been cut free. So there you have it. All right, that's it for today for New Jersey Makers Day 2022. We have our logo right here. And I'm going to compare it right here to my shirt. How'd it turn out? Seems like it's pretty close to what we have here on our shirt, which is neat. So this is 3mm plywood cut out with the X-Tool D1 with the New Jersey Makers Day logo right here from the Bridgeton Public Library. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you next year. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.